Hello, hello. Check 1, 2. Can you hear me all the way in the back? Can you hear me in the back? Okay. A little louder. Usually people are telling me to turn it down. How's that? Can you hear me now? Nice and loud. All right, all right, all right. My name is Tyler Stonehawker, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict. Let's try that again. You guys are supposed to say, hi, Tyler, all at once. Let's try that one more time. My name's Tyler. I'm an alcoholic and an addict. There, that's my group. That's my God right there, my group of drunks, G-O-D. That's what you guys are. That's where I find God, is in rooms like this one here. Fellowshipping with you guys. This is where I hear the words that I need to hear to keep me sane and sober today. I lived a long, hard life for the last 45 years. My story goes like this. So my name is Tyler. That's what my mama calls me. But in Nashville, they call me Ty Stonehawker. Now, that's my stage name, but it is also my real last name. And then all my friends growing up, they called me Stony. That's right, I was that guy. I got to be the Stony in the group. But it's on my behalf. It was because my last name is Stonehawker. But I did live up to the name fully. Now, they were calling me Stony before my first joint, but I think it was about 12 years old. The first time the parents left me unattended, I somehow found some marijuana and the bad kids in the neighborhood and got right into it. And so my use and abuse started then at an early age. So because of that, I like to say some of us are born with it, and some of us went out there and earned it. I was one of those people that I just always had an addictive personality. I'm addicted to everything there is, from food, drugs, alcohol, TV. I mean, you give me enough of anything, and I'll latch onto it. I was big on the video games when they first came out, just about everything. I'm gonna grab my notes here, you guys. Anyway, so real quick before I get too deep into my story, I forgot a very important part of recovery, and that is, why don't you guys join me for a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer. And for this moment of silence, I want you all to imagine somebody in your life that you love very much that's still out there using and drinking today, and imagine what their life would be like if they would just come in to recovery like you have, and all of the promises that have come true in your life, and what they would do for that person that you love. So quick moment of silence for them. And together we pray, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right. So back to my story. All right, I'm doing this. All right. So I was arrested 5 times before I was 18 years old. And the first few times you get arrested when you're 12, 13, 14, the cops, they drive you home to your parents' house and they just tattle on you and you're in big trouble. But by the umpteenth time that the cops have to bring you home, they start putting you in handcuffs. They're trying to teach you a lesson. Well, none of it taught me anything. I just kept going. My parents tried everything. They tried every punishment in the book. I had to switch junior highs. They bought me a convertible Mustang, then took it away from me. I didn't care, not even a little bit. By the time I got to high school, they switched me schools, and those 2 schools converged on the same high school. So I ran for class president and won by a landslide, because I had the bad kids vote and I had the good Christian kids vote, because I went to church my whole life. And so I became class president, and by my junior year I got impeached. So yeah, that's right. I've already been in politics and impeached, just like our current president. And I lost my scholarship at that point. It still didn't slow me down. The whole time all this was going on, I graduated from high school. The whole time this was all going on, I was selling pot. And I was doing that to make a little money on the side and get some free pot out of it. And then that's how I put myself through college. Well, while I was in college, I learned how to grow magic mushrooms. And that was the end of college. I could grow money in a little Tupperware in my closet. So now I'm growing mushrooms. I'm making glass bongs. I'm just completely immersed in the counterculture. I'm taking acid, mushrooms, and alcohol regularly. And And I'm getting arrested all the time. And it didn't seem to bother me, not at all. I just kept spiraling out of control. I didn't think it was a big deal, and I didn't think I was hurting anybody. I always told myself, and this is a classic addiction thing to say, is I'm not hurting anybody. But what we don't realize until I did the work was that I was hurting the people that loved me the most. The people that loved me the most are the people that I hurt the most. When you realize that you are forcing the people that love you to watch you destroy yourself, and until you realize that that's what's going on, you just don't care. And you're able to keep telling yourself that I'm not hurting anybody but me, so why is it a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because they love you, and I learned all that through the program of recovery. Now, I went to my first AA meeting when I was 15 years old, court-ordered, of course. So I've been close to recovery my whole life. Now, when I was in and out of AA because I was in and out of jail, I thought every one of you was on probation. And it wasn't until 3 years ago when a nice man 12-stepped me, and I'll get to that. When he 12-stepped me into the program, and I went willingly, for the first time in my life, went willingly to a meeting of recovery on my own fruition, and I noticed that there was only one white piece of paper in the basket. I thought, what the heck is going on here? 99% of you want to be here. And it started to grow on me, and I started to open up. I started to open my heart. I started to feel the spirit of recovery, and I started to understand what it was that was going on around me. Anyways, back to right after college, my use and abuse was spiraling out of control. I started selling big packs. You ever seen the movie Blow? Well, my life story. We don't have to get into the amounts and how much and what I took and all this, but it was starting to look a lot like that. I didn't steal an airplane or anything like that. And I was never able to sell cocaine because we always did it all, so that didn't help. But when you have 100 pounds of marijuana, you can't smoke that much, so we usually got rid of most of that. And that's what kept me up above board with cash and everything for so many years. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't all bad times. There was a lot of laughs, there was a lot of joy, and there was a lot of fun that was had. And I've heard this at a lot of meetings, it starts out, it's a lot of fun, and then it becomes fun with problems, and then it becomes all problems. And then you become sick and tired, and then hopefully in your life, someone finds you or you find someone that wants to help you out. My wicked life of money, booze, drugs, women, rinse and repeat was not a Skid Row story, but it was the opposite, but it had very many similarities. The end result was that I became broken. I became broken to a point where all that joy and laughter was gone, and I was just hurting people to get to my next drug, my next drink. The higher that I got, the lower the lows got. I became a professional con artist. I made up wild stories and did insane things to get the next drug or drink. And it wasn't that I didn't care. It was that I thought I wasn't hurting anybody. Okay, so the reason that I don't like telling this story like, okay, this is how many drugs we took and this is, that one time at this wild party, is because I call that two-squirreling. You ever been to a meeting where people are two-squirreling? It goes like this. The first guy, he tells his story and he saw one squirrel. And then the next guy tells his story, he saw two squirrels. So I call that two-squirreling. By the time we leave a meeting where everybody's squirreling, everybody wants to get high on squirrels. All right, yeah, not all my jokes are going to land, you know. All right, so meetings is where we go to hear the language of recovery and feel the spirit. Like I said, group of drunks is my God, G-O-D, and that's where I go. That's why I don't like to hear what wild party, what amazing thing, oh, Jimmy jumped off the roof that one time. I'd rather just hear the beautiful language of recovery, our experiences to better each other. That's what fellowshipping is all about, is we help each other. We all know that you could take enough to kill a horse and live. We don't need to hear about it again. But I will tell you that while I was out there living in addiction, I was arrested over 20 times. Over 20 times that I can remember off the top of my head that I've been arrested. The one time, the most insane one, I was put in an orange jumpsuit with my hands shackled to my feet to my waist, and I was transported across the country. I was in that situation for months, and I ended up in Texas in a holding facility. Nobody knew where I was. I was arrested for being a fugitive at large. And if you don't think that scares the people that you love, well, I mean, I don't think that there's anything scarier than that, than you just disappearing off the street one day, and they're not allowed to tell you where you are because you're in transport. I was arrested by 13 DEA agents that resulted in a 3-year court process. And the end result was that I was found not guilty by a jury of 12. And the only reason that I'm here today is because God has a better plan for me. God's plan for me is such a beautiful plan that I get to stand before you today and share my experience, strength, and hope, and help others recover from drugs and alcohol, which is the segue into my first song, you guys. Are you ready for this? This first song? All right. This song is called The Window in My Cell. And I wrote this song based on, had I been found guilty by that jury at 12, I would just be getting out of prison right now. This happened in 2013. I'd just be getting out of prison now. The thing is, it was for marijuana, and you know, another famous thing that us drug addicts and alcoholics like to say is that it's just marijuana. Yeah, well, marijuana lands you right in prison just like the rest of them. So anyways, while I was going through the court process, they had legalized marijuana. So this song kind of touches on how it would feel to be locked away for a 10-year prison sentence while the nation turns and accepts marijuana and you're still sitting there. Because at one point the judge had said, because we tried to get it dropped based on the fact that it had legalized, and he said, well, it wasn't legal when you took your plants across this imaginary line, you know. So I'm going to play this song for you guys now. It's called The Window in My Cell. Hey. Oh, the window in my cell, there is a walking trail. If I stand just right, I see people walking by. A pretty lady on a jog, a little boy walking his dog. Reminds me I'm doing time. I had a plan, I wasn't gonna do it long. Make a little bit of money and have some fun. Back before the law had been repealed, now I spend all my time looking out the window in my cell. The window in my cell, there is a lazy river. Rainbow trout are rising, the bullfrogs sing their song. Although I can barely see it, in my cell I cannot hear it. That water flows where I belong. I had a plan, I wasn't gonna do it long. Make a little bit of money and have some fun. Back before the law had been repealed, now I spend my time looking out. Now I spend all my time looking out the window in my cell. This window, it's my freedom. As I live my waking hell, it's the perfect piece of torture. The window in my cell, shafted light from heaven, casts its glory on my floor. makes me wonder, will I be back for more? I had a plan, I wasn't gonna do it long. Make a little money, have a little fun. Back before the law had been repealed, now I spend my time looking out the window in my cell. Now I spend all my time looking out the window in my cell. All right. I know that none of us planned on being in recovery. I know that when I was little, I didn't think, I'm going to grow up and bottom out. I'm going to join a group of drunks and drug addicts and get my life back together. No, no, no. And also, when I was at career day in the 5th grade, there wasn't a booth. There wasn't an AA booth in the 5th grade telling us, hey, some of you are going to end up here. Some of your parents should already be here. Some of your parents are here. And so I'm glad I'm here now. I wouldn't trade the life I have now for a new one. I have forgiven myself, and thanks to the 12 steps and the program of recovery, I'm happy, joyous, and free today. And if you're new here and you're listening to me speak, I'm telling you that this can work for you too. I have gotten to the point where I've completely turned my life around. I've become a success. I've stopped selling weed and I sell houses now. I've stopped making bongs. I make clothes on a sewing machine. We are all a success today if we don't take a drink. Every single one of us. The rest of it, that's right. Some of the best people in the entire world are in recovery. People that take a strong stance in recovery, work a good program, and stay close to the program are the best people. If you're new, open your heart and your ears and let these people in your life. Be like these people. Share your experience and strength and hope with us. We are here for the newcomer. We are all newcomers at one point. The old timers, if y'all didn't stick around and keep coming back, there would be no one to 12-step us newcomers into the program. That's how I ended up here. I mean, I got sober on my own so many times. I would bottom out and I would get sober for 2 or 3 weeks. One time I made it 7 weeks on my own. And I forgot how bad it was. And then I was right back out there. And then and I got this great thing where I was like, I was able to have a drink tonight and came home and that was it. I just had one. So the next night I had 2. By the week's end, I'm back on the hard stuff, And that's just the cycle that I lived for a long time until I met a man named Muka. I didn't know he was 12-stepping me at the time, but that's what happened. And his 12-step turned into my first step. Now, the story about Muka is a music producer in San Francisco, California. And my band, my psychedelic jam band, Stony Holiday is the name of it. And we had the opportunity to go record at Muka's studio. And Muka's studio did the 11 Tom Waits albums. They worked with the Grateful Dead. They worked with Van Morrison and Greg Allman and 40 years of that kind of stuff down in the Bay. So when we got the opportunity to go work down there, and me and my band were all messy pirates, so I made them sign a sobriety contract, because of course I was footing the bill. Big Papa Weed Bags is footing the bill for the Stony Holiday, the band, and so I said, you boys are signing this contract. So because of that contract, Muka, who wasn't part of the album, we were just renting his studio, but because and I see this now, I didn't see this then, but because he is a strong member of recovery, he came up to me and asked me what this contract was about, and I told him, trying to get a record done, and these guys are literally hyenas, and I just wanted to make sure that we didn't come and disrespect your space. So Mooka thought that that was pretty cool. But in the contract, it said we could still have alcohol. So one of these days that we're at the studio for 2 weeks, I come up to Mooka, and I'd been drinking, and I said, "Hey, man, how much would it cost for you to make a record for me?" And he looks me up and down, and he said, "I'll do it if you get sober." And my selfish, drunk self went to rehab the next week. I said, "Oh, this is all I got to do to get this old man to make a record for me." All right, so I call Mooka 3 months later, say, "I'm clean and sober. When do we start?" Mooka says, "I didn't think you would do it, but I'm going to keep my word." So we get it scheduled. And at this point, like some of us came into this program for selfish reasons, or say you came in on probation and came in on probation and stayed for salvation. Well, I was just going to stay sober long enough to get Mooka to make this record for me. But I got to that first day of the recording studio, and he said, "When was the last time you went to an AA meeting?" Or he said a meeting, because he didn't know what I'd choose. And I've been to NA and AA, and I've been to all of them. And I love it all. It's all just so beautiful. There's a million ways to get sober. I happen to like the 12 steps of recovery. Now, Mooka said, I told Mooka, I'm not doing AA, I'm not on probation or anything. He thought that was weird. And he said, "Well, if we're going to be working on this record, we're going to a meeting." He took me to a meeting every day before we started until I started going to meetings on my own. And that's what it took, because I wasn't going to do it. I was going to be right back out there, and I was going to just be the messy person that I was. And then I had gotten 9 months sober. I had my 9-month chip in my coin when I relapsed. And I think that the 9-month story is after this song, guys. I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank goodness I made a paper, you know what I mean? So this next song is called "Me and My Guitar." And in this song, it goes through a little bit of my story and my journey, and then Mooka is in the bridge of this story, of this song, and I really like this song. So I'm going to play it for you. This one's called "Me and My Guitar." It goes like this. I sold pot when I was in high school. A friend, he couldn't pay me, so he gave me his guitar. He taught me how to play Tom Petty. Yeah, I was gonna be a star. I left home and started a band. We bought a school bus, we hit the road. I left the boys there when it broke down. I hitchhiked to the next show. And when I look back now, I had good intentions, but all there was to see was my bad actions. I broke some hearts, I broke some bones, just me and my guitar on the road. I broke some hearts, I broke some bones, me and my guitar on the road. It wasn't long, I started using anything that I could get my hands on. I got sick, I couldn't get a fix. I hit the bottom, I broke up the band. And when I look back now, I had good intentions, but all there was to see my bad actions. I broke some bones, I broke some hearts, just me and my guitar on the road. I broke some hearts, I broke some bones, me and my guitar on the road. I was trying to change when I met a man He told me he'd help me if I turned my life around. So I picked myself up off the ground, and I found peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. And when I look back now, I had good intentions, but all there was to see, my bad actions. I broke some hearts, I broke some bones, me and my guitar on the road. I broke some hearts, I broke some bones, just me and my guitar on the road. All right, me and my guitar. So what got me sober was the 12-step. But when I came into the program, I just being the rebel and the defiant like a lot of us are, I started doing meetings on my own, and I started doing this makeshift program where I was going to meetings willy-nilly. I had a sponsor, but I wasn't calling him very often. I didn't want to work the steps. I didn't want to choose a home group, and I just kind of was doing the bare minimum. And that led me to, I had just got my 9 months coin, and the green coin, it's green, right? It's the 9 month one? Anyways, doesn't matter. It's green in my head right now, and I can see it. I had that thing in my pocket, and I got on an airplane to go sell more pot because I'm a slow learner, okay? I just want to say this. If any of you are new and you're still out there doing deals, don't do any more deals. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You can stop now and save yourself some heartache and pain. So I get on that airplane on St. Patrick's Day, and I tell myself, I can have the one free Guinness. I have 9 months. And when that airplane landed, I think I was on my 3rd double tall gin and tonic. And we all know, we're good at this. We all know what happens when you start drinking gin. So I came 2-3 days later, and I was lighting the pipe from the underside, and that's never a good sign. Luckily, that had pulled me out of whatever kind of blackout that I was in, and I came to, and I flew home, and I called my sponsor, which was hard for me because Muka had told me if I start using again, he's not going to work with me, and I don't blame him. He's he doesn't need to work with me in the first place. He's got this great career going, and he definitely doesn't need to work with a drug addict. But I called him anyways, and he was so soft and gentle with me, and he said, we're still going to work together. The fact that you called means that you're willing to do the work. I want you to get in doing 90 and 90. So I did right away. I think I did 180 and 90, I'm pretty sure. And that's what it took for me. I finally got down on my knees, and I said, I have a problem. And it's one that I can't, not only can I not do it myself, but I can't do it alone, and I can't do it with a half measure. It finally made sense that half measures will avail us nothing because I was given a half measure to my program. So I started working the steps with my sponsor. I went both feet in. I went full measures, and it changed my life. And the changes that I went through by working those steps one at a time with my sponsor are very profound. Now, when the 4th step that he had me do, and I thought he was just being mean because he was very stringent with me. And we did a very, very thorough 4th step. And he told me this is where we lose a lot of people is on this 4th step. It's hard work. And I kept trying to turn my stuff into him, and he'd be like, no. This isn't enough, man. Like, you're holding back. I know you. This isn't it. This isn't it. Keep it coming. So I finally got it all put together, and I read it to him. And my sponsor said he didn't sleep for 2 nights after I read him that 4th step. I went above and beyond anything he ever knew about me, and it kind of blew his mind. I slept like a baby because I had this weight had been lifted off my shoulders. My life had been changed. I just let out everything that was causing me pain. All the reasons that I was drinking were now on the table, and were now I had given them to somebody else. And he couldn't sleep. He said he had night terrors and his legs were twitching. And thank God for him for doing that for me. Because I had done some things that were hard to talk about. And he knew it. And he said, no, you got to dig deep or you're going to drink again. This is what this program is. We know. We have been through it. This thing was built in the 30s. Millions of people have been through this process, and millions of people are well into the long journey of recovery because they listened to their sponsor. And they did a thorough 4th and 5th step. Which brings me to my next song. So I wrote this one on the way home from doing my 5th step with my sponsor. This one's in the key of bluegrass. So as if the songs weren't uppity enough, this one's going. This one's called Finally Free. It's got a little 9th step in here too. You'll hear it. It goes like this, guys. Nights that I would come home drunker than could be, you were always waiting up me. I would draw a blank when you asked me where I was. I would argue you should let me be. I don't know where my mind was, but I could feel my heart. It was telling me I was tearing us apart. I knew that I was wrong, and I knew that I should be doing all the things that a good man would. Now there's trophies on the shelf where the bottles used to be. The holes in the drywall covered by pictures of family. I couldn't be the one. I couldn't give you what you need. It feels so good that your heart is finally free. Finally free. Talking to you, baby, no, I have no proof. Just tears in my eyes as I tell you the truth. I started drinking to deal with all my pain. I know that it affected you. I won't do that again. It's time to shed my skin and move on. I'll be good to you now that I've let it out. Now there's trophies on the shelf where the bottles used to be. Holes in the drywall are now pictures of family. I couldn't be the one. I couldn't give you what you need. It feels so good that your heart is finally free. Finally free. Talking to you, baby, you know I have no proof. Just tears in my eyes, I tell you the truth. Things happened to me from my childhood till now. They kept me from being proud. I started drinking to deal with all my pain. I know that it affected you and I won't do that again. It's time to shed that skin and move on. I'll be good to you now that I've let it out. Now there's trophies on the shelf where the bottles used to be. Holes in the drywall are now pictures of family. I couldn't be the one. I couldn't give you what you need. It feels so good that your heart is finally free. Finally free. Finally free. All right, finally free. It feels so good, man. Ever since that weekend with my sponsor. So really, it took us 12 hours for me to read this 4th step, And every time he complained, I'm like, you're the one that made me write this much stuff. I had filled out a complete notebook and then had to go get more paper. And that's why I kept calling me like, are you sure? Everybody does this? I was baffled, but I was also freed because I got it all out. I dug deep. And, now that I've been through the steps, I say, well, what was the recipe that got me sober? Was I worked these steps. So now that I'm at the end, what do I do? Well, you start over. You start at step 1. You work it again. You find, if you don't want to do it with your sponsor, you find someone to sponsor and you work it with them. Working steps with somebody else, whether you're the sponsor or the sponsee, will benefit your life in every way. And every time you do it, it'll benefit your life in another way and in a different way. And the closer you stay to the program of recovery and the language of recovery and to your fellows in recovery and to the newcomers and the old timers in this program, the more light will come into your life. And I know that because that's how I'm living right now, is I'm surrounding myself with you guys. And I'm so happy that Not One More Alabama had me out here to do this, because doing this is just bringing me so much joy. My entire week was filled with writing this speech, and I'm pretty green, and then there's been times where I'm just reading off the paper, and then there's times like this where I'm just going for it. And I remember early in my recovery, like I was telling you, I was still running packs at the beginning, and I was I was really trying hard. I was still holding hands with the devil while reaching out for God. But I would be in the car going to make a delivery, listening to speaker meetings on the way. And those speaker meetings, I fell in love. But I would be in the car going to make a delivery, listening to speaker meetings on the way. And those speaker meetings, I fell in love with behind me now. And that's why I say, if you're still out there working the street a little bit because you need that money, you know who you are. But you don't have to do that anymore. I swear to God, you'd rather sweep the floor at the Nissan plant up in Nashville than keep your hand in hand with the devil. When God has been there with you the whole time, you just didn't know it. Ever since I got into the passenger seat and let God drive the car, my life has changed. And I know that when things happen in my life that I don't agree with, if I let it be God's choice, then it brings me so much calm and so much peace. And that's when I like to read from page 417 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous about acceptance. Because this has been something, and this isn't from the Gospel of Bill either. This is just from another drunk. His story in the back of the book. This is just another one of us, another addict, alcoholic. And he says, acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I'm disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some facet of my life is unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, or thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world, but what needs to be changed in me and in my attitudes. Things only bother me because I let them bother me. I only react to things because I allow myself to react to things. It happens to me a lot in the car still. I live near Nashville. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to drive around there. The worst drivers in the world are up there in Nashville. And I have to continue to think to myself, look, Tyler, you don't know if the person in front of you's wife just died. You don't know what they're going through. So keep your fingers in a ball on the steering wheel and calm yourself down. What is it that you're in such a hurry for? So now I've got this thing I do when people are being stupid in the car in front of me. I laugh. I don't get angry. I think it's funny. And I know that we all do it. get a little text message from time to time and take a look at the stoplight. Oh, it's green. How long has it been green? I don't know. The cars in front of me are gone. But what an asshole I am. What a jerk, I mean. Sorry, pardon my French. What a jerk I am that I was mad at somebody 10 minutes ago, and now I'm doing the same thing. We're all human. So cut everybody a break. Have a little patience and let God drive the car. Millions of us recover. Millions of us have, let me rephrase that. Millions of us have joined the journey of recovery, because recovery is not a destination. Some of us say that we have recovered. I don't think that I will ever recover. I will continually be recovering, and I will continue to learn and grow every day on my journey towards recovery. Recovery happens for me the day that I meet my Maker. That's the day that I will be whole. And until then, I've got a lot of work to do. Constant growth for your whole life through meditation and prayer, connection with a higher power. Join a meeting. Regularly attend. Become a member of a home group. Stay close to recovery. Fellowship is what we're doing here. Everybody give yourselves a pat on the back for being here today. We do this together. We do this one day at a time. And what do we say? We say, not one more. That's what we say here in Alabama. But we say that everywhere now. It's growing. Listen, if you're sick, we're here to help you. We can help you get better. You're in the right place. You made a good choice by being here today. All we ask is that you look this way. If you're here today, you've made the right choice and you've made a step in the right direction. If you're new, we love the newcomer. Newcomers are the lifeblood of this program. If you're new here, stay here. Things will get better. Old timers, never stop coming. You're the reason that the newcomers can come. All right, so that brings me to my next song. And I'm out of notes, too. I'm going to have to freestyle the rest of this. All right, so I was getting close to that 1 year when I wrote this one. And as you can see, I've got my fun hippie merch up here. And I was at an EDM concert at a place called the Gorge Amphitheater in Washington. It's about a 30,000 person camp out. And these people are staying up for all 3 days, to say the least. And they're taking their ecstasies and they're doing their pot and all that, you know. And first of all, this lady comes into my booth, and I asked her how far along she was. She was not pregnant at all. My hair was standing up on end. My electric toothbrush just ran out of batteries. I was having a time. And so I started writing this song down. And I was like, you know what you need right now? You need to find a quiet place and close your eyes. You need to do some stretches. You need to put your legs up the wall. And I basically just told you the whole song, but now I'm going to sing it to you. This is a Keatsy folk tune called Remember to Breathe. It goes, when your toothbrush runs out of batteries and your hair stands up on its own, you can't count the hours of sleep you've had. You're so far away from home. You ask a lady, how far along are you? And she's not pregnant at all. Close your eyes, try to think of nothing at all. Touch your toes, put your legs up the wall. This life is for you. Remember to breathe, remember to breathe, remember to breathe. Remember to breathe, remember to breathe, remember this life is for you. When the sun's beating down on you mercilessly and you can't find shade, aw shucks, you just missed the bus. Now that swimming hole's too far away. The hot dog stand was all out of mustard, still sold you hot dogs anyway. Close your eyes, try to think of nothing at all. Touch your toes, or put your legs up the wall. This life is for you. Remember to breathe, remember to breathe, remember breathe. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Remember this life is for you. Go find a book, get lost in it. Get down on your knees and pray. You gotta keep up with your spirit. You might have a sacrifice to make. Close your eyes, try to think of nothing at all. Touch your toes or put your legs up the wall. This life, it's for you. Remember to breathe, remember to breathe, remember to breathe. Remember to breathe, remember to breathe, remember this life is for you. All right, remember to breathe, everybody. If life's trying to get you down, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Remember, pick up that 10-pound phone and call your sponsor. And if he doesn't answer, pick up that 10-pound phone and call your sponsor. And if he doesn't answer, keep. Because that's what you guys have taught me in here, is that it's fellowship. And if you have the desire to get or stay sober, and we're going to help each other out. This next song I wrote one of the many times I tried to get sober before I found the program. One of the times that I was just drying out, I would go to my mom's house to dry out because my parents never had alcohol in the house my whole life, so it was always a good place. Plus, I could raid the fridge, you know what I mean? Mom and Dad's house. So I wrote this song while I was actually on house arrest. That's a whole story. So you guys, I'm sure you see on the news the fires on the West Coast. Well, I had gotten a DUI right before fire season, and I'd been in trouble enough that I had to do 10 days of house arrest. And I'm asthmatic, so I was able to get a doctor's note, show it to my probation officer. They let me fly to Utah and do my house arrest at my mom's house. Only I could be that lucky. Anyways, I wrote this song while I was sitting on the couch, one of the many times I tried to get sober. It's called Sometimes. It goes like this. Sometimes I feel like a crossroads with nowhere to go. Sometimes I feel like I'm out here and I'm all on my own. Sometimes I feel like I'm captain of the ship, and sometimes I feel like I should just quit. And sometimes I feel like, Mama, I wanna come home. Sometimes I feel like I wanna go out and play. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should just stay. Sometimes I feel like the bottle, it's the only way. Sometimes Sometimes I feel like I'm captain of the ship, and sometimes I feel like I should just quit. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should go home. Mama, I'm coming home. Sometimes I feel like I have already paid. Sometimes I feel like my bed was already made. Sometimes I feel like I ought to kneel down and pray. Sometimes I feel like I'm captain of the ship. Sometimes I feel like I should just quit. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should go. Mama, I'm coming home. All right, Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. That one was from the album that Mooka, that I was telling you about. That's from the album that Mooka made, and it's out. That's out on wherever you stream your music. But that was an amazing time. I got to record with the bass player from Zac Brown Band, Terry Miller, does the bass on that record, and Turnpike Troubadours, pedal steel and banjo. We got gospel singers on that thing. It's quite the record. Okay, so this next one, thank God for recovery. Every time I am out playing in Nashville or wherever, I tell these little stories before. That's probably how I ended up here. I was telling these recovery stories, and somebody thought it would be a good idea to get me in front of a group of people in recovery, right? So I tell these stories at a bar, and people cheers me, you know. They're like, hey, group drink. All right, so this particular time, I was playing a gig, and I had just said, hey, you know, I'm in my third year of recovery, and the guy sitting next to me, he leans over and he says, you friend of Bill W.? And I said, I sure am. So him and I are now best friends. And we wrote this song together, and this is the most recent song I've written. And it's one of my favorite. It's got a little bit existential, but it's got a lot of recovery in it. So it goes like this. Life can be so mundane, like a picture in a frame. Certain feelings will arise. They're so easy to disguise. Pick yourself up off the floor. There will be an open door. Opportunities are found when you decide to change. Take the time to look inside. There's no reason to hide from yourself. All the pain that you've been through, it's brought you to this point of view of yourself. There's always something else. I used to search for perfection. Now I know it can't be done. But it always brings me peace when I know I tried my best. Take the time to look inside. There's no reason to hide from yourself. All the pain that you've been through, it's brought you to this point of view of yourself. There's always something. There's always something. There's always something else. All right. All right, I'm going to do one more song for you guys. And then that's it for me. I once again want to thank Not One More Alabama for having me. This has been a lot of fun for me to do. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. This is the song that Muka and I wrote together. It's called Take Me to the Water. And Take Me to the Water is what you say to the preacher man when you're ready to get baptized. You say, "Preacher man, take me to the water." And it goes just like this. Well, cut your hair another day. You're gonna make a man anyway. Look inside yourself, what do you see? Do you like who you're gonna be? Take me to the water, wade into the sea. I'll find a perfect place for you. You won't have to find one for me. Put your head in my lap. Said you were tired and you needed a nap. I gently stroked your hair. When you woke up, I wasn't there. I said, take me to the water, wade into the sea. I'll find a perfect place for you. You won't have to find one for me. Learn to love yourself. You don't have to do it for me. Don't you do it for me. Let your hair down, baby. Go ahead and take a seat. Here we go. I'm hoping somebody would stop in, have some cake, play some gin. I hope it is my special friend, so I can show my silly grin, one that I produce from deep within. It'll put bumps on your skin. You gotta feel good in your skin. You gotta feel good in your skin. Take me to the water, wade into the sea. I'll find a perfect place for you. You won't have to find one for me. Learn to love yourself. You don't have to do it for me. Don't you do it for me. Let your hair down, baby. Take a seat. All right, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. All right, what happens next? All right, somebody else gonna come talk?